Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, October the 26th. We are conducting one of our now more or less normal Monday or Thursday meetings in the COVID era for updates and any business that we can accomplish. Typically, we start out by asking our public safety officials about any updates. We'll start with our health agent and see how we're doing.
Since our last meeting, there's been 4 reported cases. The latest one was on Sunday. And they're all at home, isolated. They've all been contact traced. One of the nice things that the community contact tracing has come out with is a spreadsheet that specifically lists K through 12 kids that are potentially, exposed. And so that way they notify the schools as well as us having a running list of what's going on. So that's been the biggest help in the whole tracing end of things. And the chief's assistants.
Has that changed our color designation at all, or?
Not yet, but I would suspect it will.
Yeah, the map is updated a little bit. In the past, the current map is for the 4th through the 17th were gray, and even for the 11th through the 24th will probably still be gray. It will be the next map after that, the 18th through the 31st, where we'll probably move up to either green or yellow.
Now, the state did change their report a little bit on the map, in that they've added an asterisk beside towns that may have a correctional facility or where they know a reason for a big spike in cases.
Like a nursing home or something like that?
Right. But it doesn't change whether you have to move back or not. It just identifies that they
The
know.
reason why.
Yeah. Well,
So, can't emphasize it enough. It's wear a mask, wash your hands, and socially distance. It's not a tricky process.
Evidently, our president and vice president are not taking it to heart.
No, I think it would be better of the country if it came right from the top too. That's from my personal health perspective, not a political statement.
well, everybody has their own interpretation. If you stay far enough away, it's like you and I at this point.
Right.
All right, moving on. How about our fire chief?
Lima sent reached out to me today just to let us know that, not us, I'm assuming it's probably Kingston, but they said a neighboring community, they're gonna send out a wireless emergency alert thing. So it'll be one of those that where your cell phone goes off, and they expect that there'll be a lot of bleed over into Halifax, so they just want them to make you aware that that was gonna go out today. And it's just gonna be a quick public health update saying wearing masks, washing hands, type of thing. But it's not designed for us, but they expect that there'll be a lot of Halifax people who get that call. That's all I have.
Nothing of mine.
Oh, well, that's probably good news.
Yeah.
So, through the constables, for whatever reason, this person, we had an anonymous letter expressing concerns about the Lakeside Villa events there. I forwarded it to Bob, gave him a copy because it really is a Board of Health jurisdiction. The person was complaining that there were too many people at some of the indoor events, and also that people were dancing together.
Where is this?
At Lakeside.
Oh, Lakeside.
Yeah. But I forwarded it to Bob. I gave the constables a copy since it's really their mail, but they don't have any jurisdiction, obviously. That's all I've done with it. Bob can follow up with Lakeside, but I'm not sure that in fact there's a violation. I think this person may not be aware of all the current maximum capacity rules, protocols at this point. So, we did get the letter from the Silver Lake. They've organized a meeting for this Thursday at 11 a.m. I believe it's Sandy's going to be attending, quotation marks, I'll be attending. We'll see what comes of it. I mean, we're supposed to be saying, supposedly maybe they're going to send a detailed list of what they are looking for. I did just send out a note earlier today because I heard from Tom O'Brien about substitute teachers, which is an okay expense. Obviously, you got to document. So I'm making this up. Let's say normally we have 3 substitute teachers on any given day. So we're not going to get reimbursed for those 3. But we're going to get reimbursed for the overage. So for instance, instead of 3, if we needed 8, if we needed 10, whatever like that, the difference is because of COVID is what we would be reimbursed for. And obviously, it has to be for COVID, it can't be for a broken leg, it can't be for the flu. But also with the number of teachers actually needed, forgetting about people out because of COVID, but because of the hybrid learning situation. The fact that we needed more substitute teachers for a certain period of time would be a covered expense. But again, it's going to be a lot of it, it's going to be document. The school system's going to have to write a good narrative. And I don't mean a fake narrative, but just to answer the question, why were these substitute teachers needed? And explain the hybrid model and how we needed more teachers because we needed teachers there, we needed teachers handling it online, that type of thing. So I don't know what else they're going to be asking for, but we'll find out. Also, that my colleague over in Plymouth had emailed the surrounding towns and mentioned that she's going to be looking for, she received formal notice from the governor's office that they're offering to help Plymouth in terms of enforcement and such because they've been 3 weeks in the red. I don't know that it's a problem here so much, but if you're a red community, there may be government assistance from the state directly that's available. Aside from like that anonymous complaint, I know I haven't done anything for several weeks. I don't know if Bob's been getting complaints at all. And that's all I have on COVID. I don't have anything on the legal front, so the next thing would be, I believe, Pam, I sent down to you the debating.
Yeah, right, that was for the fuel.
Fuel, heating oil for the buildings.
Right.
So the board had previously awarded the contract to the day. I just am gathering signatures at this point, so I don't need another vote from the board. Beautification.
So that needs to be signed.
Yeah. Beautification committee, the committee sent out a thank you letter or release. They sponsored this year's fall cleanup on Saturday the 3rd. I'd like to extend thanks to everybody who helped in spite of the year's many hardships, at least 94 people. I mean, I remember years we couldn't even have 9 people, let alone 94. People signed up to pick up trash on our roadways, which for many residents who didn't get to sign up still participated. A few community groups lent their ongoing support, including Lynn O'Brien with Cub Scout Pack 239 and Christopher Forney with the Val Church. And then there was a whole bunch of people here. But I'm really gratified. And of course, they had a good day to do it also, that was helpful. But that's going great guns. I don't know, but I suspect we're going to be still socially distant in the spring, but if we could get another turnout like that, that'd be great. Let's see. We already had the fire department and the community EMS approval, so the next one is another contract. I believe Tom is the only signature for this. This is for DHB Part 2 of their work on the stormwater. We've done Part 1 with them. Before town meeting, if we need very sweet course and such sign, work on before town meeting. This is for the rest of the year and for the rest of the month. So if the board would approve having Tom, on behalf of the board, sign the second part of the contract with VHB for stormwater.
So moved.
management.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Then, that's the Board of Assessors, that's the signature authority, the bills and payroll. We got a bunch of those earlier. We got the ones from the assessors. I think Tom, we just ordered in Troy. On Bud's Goods, the host community agreement and the their proposal. We had that public forum last week. Buzz is asking in essence what the board would like to do for its next steps. I don't know if the board wanted, I told Buzz Goods, you know, as a starting point, certainly we would need to get from HCA a new draft with language to bring to town council. I didn't know if the board wanted to do anything else. I'm not saying the board would approve it, obviously. It's simply, if the board's going to make any decision at all, it would need a new HCA to sign. Why not sign, as the case may be.
Tom, how did that last hearing go? I wasn't able to attend. You guys have,
There wasn't a lot of participation. It was kind of benign, really. He made his presentation. There were some questions about the septic system. He indicated that they couldn't find a suitable percolation spot on their parcel, but they were negotiating with the Hasiotis family about pumping it down to another piece of property that butts it. Then there were some questions about whether that could in fact be, they could actually do that. So there was some
easement type question?
yeah, there was a difference of opinion about it, and I think they would research that out.
Yeah, and that's something that they'd have to work through the Board of Health,
Yeah.
one way or the other. You know, the HCA doesn't mean automatically you don't want the permits, it simply means
Right.
you can move ahead with the next step, which is both with the state of the provisional license. So they said they got a provisional license, I could follow up on that.
Yeah. We didn't have a whole lot of technical information. I recall that once before when we were approached with indoor growing, we had a lot more discussion about scrollers and that type of thing. There wasn't so much in it with this. I think that still needs to be explored a little more. But honestly, I expected more participation from residents, and there really wasn't that much.
You know, I went through the entire list, and everybody who was on, you know, even if it was people who were on phones, they said, you know, I opened up a line in essence each time and said, do you want to say, have any questions? Do you have any questions? And there were relatively few.
I didn't sense a lot of hostility,
You know,
or any for that.
so I don't know what the board would like to do. I mean, obviously, if the board simply says, well, we'll wait for the draft HCA and get it to town council and wait to, we'll not have any discussion or any decisions until we have it reviewed by council and brought back forth to us, I can just say that.
That would be my preference. I don't know how the rest of them think.
Makes sense.
Because
Motion to that?
most of the questions that need to be answered was answered earlier on, I think so. So we'll need to see what they want to do in agreement.
The one question I would have on the cost before and what they presented for dollars to the town was a percentage of each step, because what they said was they were going to grow it here. It was going to be one company that grows it, then it was going to be another company that processes it. So are we in fact going to have two HCA's?
Yeah, so they in fact, no, it'd be one HCA, but they showed for the slides at the table showing separate revenue sources, one for the growing and one for the manufacturing.
Okay.
The question also came up about whether there was any plans for retailing, and the reply from them was that they had already maximized all of their potential licensing,
You have 3 of them.
and that they could not, at least at this time, be able to expand on that. What could happen in the future is another story, but then we'd have to be approached for that too.
Ideally, it seems like the more revenue raised for the town is from the retail, not manufacturing and processing.
It's a little different formula. It's a little more, I think, enduring.
Yes, no, because at best, right now, I can see it's been 5 years. And at the end of that, the HCA has to be renegotiated. And if I'm a smart, it's a question of whether how smart, I don't mean how smart, but which way do you want to be smart? How much do you want to retain a good relationship with the community versus how much do you want to retain the money? So that if we're not showing expenses related to having a facility there, and I doubt they're going to have anything that's measurable, then if I'm them, I'm going to say, well, you haven't shown that you needed this money, we're not going to continue giving you that 3% for growing and for manufacturing, whereas as you pointed out, for retail, that's forever. You know, as long as the store's operating, in essence, we get a 3% sales tax on it. But we don't get the same thing. It has nothing to do with expenses. It's a straight zero. Yeah.
So we need to vote on that?
No, I think I've got enough direction.
John, excuse me, after we went on the meeting, but I just want to remind you about permit the sign.
Oh, sure, it's on my list. Yeah. You want to talk to me? So LED sign at fire station.
So we think we found a sign around out of Kingston, we'll fix the sign. The issue was not being able to get the parts, but he can buy the parts from this other vendor that we had dealt with in the past. I would estimate, but we have two different issues with the sign. One is the side, when you drive down Plymouth Street this way, it looks like it's in a different language. That's one issue. And then the other issue is the radio is not communicating from the station out to the sign. So Charlie can't log in remotely. We fixed that once. They assured me that that part is still, that part, it's only 3 weeks old, would still be covered under warranty. I believe the quote that we had to fix the sign is about $2,200, but my guess is, or my recommendation would be to budget $3,000 to fix the sign, if that's the direction that you want to do. I think Charlie says he would need a reserve fund transfer to do that. If not, the other option is we just shut the sign off.
And we didn't wait until May to get the appropriation then. So if the board is okay, I'll go to the finance committee. If I can get some sort of documentation for the quote and then say, you know, we need to put in a labor cost or something like that. I can go to the finance committee and say, this is how much money I need, and get their approval or not approval. But really, you know, it's either spend some money now under one option or another, or wait until town meeting. Because I can't, at some point, even the signs that are there, you know, about lottery restrictions or COVID get outdated. It's better to turn the sign off.
For instance, the COVID expense, we need to get the message.
If we got, this is where it gets weird. There are towns that have got signs, at least the portable ones, to put up COVID messages. I don't think we can do the same thing here. This sign's already here. The repair work has nothing to do with COVID. We want the sign repaired anyway.
Yeah, but it's important because a lot of people tell me that's where they get the information from, what's going on with the town.
I understand. If I was a person to rely on a sign that had 17 characters and 2 lines on it, so if the board would approve me going to the finance committee, requesting $3,000.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Just on the electric charging station, I have sent in an application now for funding. I only sent it in a couple of days ago, so we'll see how that goes. 163 Plymouth Street, Board of Health and the building inspector have sent out formal letters now to KDA, putting them on notice. So we'll see how that happens. There's a new junk unregistered vehicle address at 715 Old Plymouth Street that I'm going to need to follow up on. Poll hearings, we're going to hold off on making any decisions until we get something back from National Grid. They're looking at various options to relocate the poles. And so that's basically on hold until then. Once we get something back, we can come back to an actual meeting, select them with the butters and see where things can go there.
And that's how we left it.
We're talking about the LED side. PA systems. Our PA system that we have, and this is the one we usually use for this room, got moved over to the school for the all-purpose room. It's inadequate for the task. So just very simply, the only 4 inputs, we start off with 5 mics, and one of those mics is for the audience, so you really need 6 or 7 mics. I've asked Scott to price an 8 mic system, an 8 input system, and see what we can do. We have the speakers. I believe the speaker stands are somewhere. They may even be sitting on the stage. But we also probably want to get something similar now for this room too, to supplement. So I'm waiting for pricing from him. Once I do, I'll come back to you all. It will require another reserve fund transfer. But that's where that is. Surplus property, fire station refrigerator, we got a new one from Green Communities. We're getting rid of the old one. I sent it out to everybody. There's no department interested. I believe it works in a sense of, it's fine. I can put it out to bid, or I can send it down to the white goods section at the recycling center. I don't know what the board's pleasure is.
Would the food bank have?
If they have room, I can ask.
Yeah, that would be decent.
Okay.
Because I can't see it having a lot of that.
415 Plymouth Street was a typo. Plymouth Street on the right. It's 415 Thompson Street. So I heard back from Corey Monty, who said he had talked to both John and Joseph, and everybody's agreeable to have the board come down. Since I think we wanted to do this formally in the sense of put it up for a posting, the earliest I could do that would be Wednesday afternoon. Now, I believe the weather isn't necessarily conducive. Yeah.
Do we do it Thursday, like before?
Thursday's even worse. Wednesday's actually now supposed to be sunny. Thursday's 90% chance of rain. And believe it or not, Friday, October 30th,
I don't want to hear snow.
there is a flake there. Now, mind you, it says 39 to 27, and it doesn't mean anything other than we're ready to get precipitation on Friday. So my recommendation is if you're available Wednesday afternoon after, let's say, 2:30, if you folks can check your calendars or internal calendars or whatever.
Would Monday of before this meeting work?
Troy, the Monday before 1:30, like say 12:30 or 1 o'clock down there, work for the two of you?
Yeah, I'd rather do that, tie it to something else rather than take another chunk of day.
Okay. Troy?
Wednesday afternoon?
No, Monday. Monday next Wednesday, the 2nd of November.
Like 1 o'clock before our meeting here.
Okay.
That way it's not an extra day.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it posted until the study's down there. And just, the chief had sent a note to the board that
It's already signed.
where did we get this? The bulletproof. Yes, the Bureau of Justice Assistance is pleased to inform you that your agency, the police department, received an award under the fiscal year 2020 Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership Solicitation. And the amount here, chief.
5,000.
What did we allocate at town meeting for that?
5,000.
5,000?
Yeah, that's usually what, it's usually what it's, the last few years we've been getting 5,000 from this, so we're kind of cautious. So we've already purchased full vests this year. So that'll reimburse.
So is that there?
Excellent, good job. Yeah.
So Mr. Clausen's here to talk about the horse shows for 2021. The Board of Health and the police chief are here, so that helps a lot. Scott, why don't you just move on up and...
A little close to Scott. Not too close,
So I guess I want to talk about adding a few more days for 2021 and then again in 2022. Because of the COVID, we had some, we actually did a bunch of changes and stuff like that. And a few groups came in that want to come back. And the September shows, nothing's going to change 2021 as far as May, June, or August goes. But we want to try to do some stuff in September. One of them is, for 2021, it would be ASPCA Regionals Championships. They were being held in Old Salem, New York, and they came out to us this year. Because of COVID, now they want to stay in Halifax for that show. And then the New England Dressage Association was running their fall festival in Saugerties, New York. And they, if you remember, Tom, you might remember, Troy might remember, they were here about 15 years ago.
10 years.
And now they want to come back in 2022. So it would add 5 days on for 2021 and then 5 additional days for 2022. So that's.
Well, what would that be total in the, for 2021, how many
For
days?
2021, it would be 43 days. And then 2022 would be an additional 48 days. And both of those particular shows are in September.
Oh, excuse me.
I get some feedback from Board of Health. How's it been going over there, Bob?
Actually, I made several visits throughout the entire summer. Rich, who's in charge of the safety over there, stayed in touch with me even when I wasn't there. I did not have a single problem on any of my visits, and I only received one complaint that was anonymous. And as it turned out, he didn't realize that they could have the number of people that had to be at the place. So after I talked to him, he was like, oh, okay. So I don't have a problem with it. If it's managed the same way, you know?
So everything's up to code?
Yeah, everything. I did all the food trucks that they had. At first it was limited, but then we expanded to a couple more. The numbers of people, I did counts, and they were 5. Mask wearing in the general area was always 100%. Sometimes when you get to the back stables, they take their mask off, but that's primarily their stable. But once you walk by and talk to them, the next time I went by, they had their masks on. So, yeah, it worked out very much smoother than I had anticipated.
Chief Jobs, any issues for you?
I had none, there, a couple medical calls there, but I know Chief Harris has a safety officer there throughout the shows. We had no complaints.
The butters would be one of my questions, but
It was just, what's the typical timeline for these shows in September, like morning to when?
They would start roughly, people start pulling in around 6, but the show doesn't start until 8 o'clock. And we try to close it down around 5, somewhere in the 5 o'clock range.
are those one-day events, Scott?
No, the 5-day events, both of them are 5 days. They go from Wednesday to Sunday.
So the shows come in with the trailers and horses, and do they stay?
Most of them stay. They'll come in on Tuesday, unload the horses, get them all settled in, and then they start competitions on Wednesday. Wednesday's a little lighter day, but it's building up towards the weekend, it gets busy.
Okay.
But they don't ship in and out, and the majority of them are just there for the whole week, and then they ship out on Sunday.
Okay. How many for those shows? What's the typical number?
I would say they average around 400 horses. We go a number of horses, so it's about 400 horses. New England Dressage, I would say I can't guarantee this because I don't know, but I think they're right in that same ball range, 400 to 500 horses.
How many people usually?
2 to the horse.
Well, we actually rated a little higher, about 3.5 per horse.
I personally don't have a problem with it. I don't know about the butters and if there's been any complaints. I haven't gotten any.
I have-
Probably see,
Yeah, I did have one complaint from one of the others, a new guy over in Harmon's place. They were working from home, and we had a little issue with the loudspeakers, so we get a new announcer and it turns out.
It's usually the loudspeaker.
It is always the loudspeaker.
Yeah,
It's always the loudspeaker. You know, we tried to, we worked on it, and we're actually going to install a new system where both myself and horse show manager Tom Hearn can adjust the volume on our phones.
Yeah, you usually adjust the volume and you just keep the volume down and put more speakers in.
Well, we have more speakers, we got into that whole routine of more speakers, but then the announcer gets in there, he doesn't hear himself, and he just turns right up, you know, especially you get different people in there all the time, so I'm on the phone constantly with Tom, but not constantly, but for a little bit there, I was on the phone and had it turned down, and he's got to go physically turn it down, which sometimes he's not always, or I got to go physically turn it down. So we're going to change it over this winter so that all the volume controls are set by our phones. So no one should be able to, I mean, up there we had the guard shack for the culvert. You should just barely hear the loudspeakers from that building. We might have them control the volume from there. I know it's an issue, and I understood. I talked to the neighbor there, Tim, several times on it, and he was good about it. You know, he understood. And, he says they were working from home because of COVID. You know, in the middle of the day, it probably does get annoying. It gets annoying at my house if I can hear it. So it's an issue of just keeping that volume.
At a respectable level.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you have to have it loud enough so people can hear.
Yeah, I mean, it can be very soft. It doesn't need to be.
Because people tune in that want to.
Right. Yeah, no matter how loud it is, if they don't want to tune it in, they won't.
Right. Gentlemen, anything else?
I don't know, that complaints, at least I've received, that the chief feels comfortable with for the change of the health agent. I would feel a bit positive about it.
Good.
I'm okay with it.
So I'll move it.
One second.
I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
Thank you. I appreciate it. If you have any complaints or problems, don't hesitate to call.
Not a problem.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, you guys have a good day. Thank you.
Last thing Jen has is the first part of the paperwork for the bonds for the fire suppression system. I don't think it was Troy was the one who signed for.
The board of selectmen, you guys have to sign, there's a lot of pages, but then there's two spots that also, that Troy can sign.
So all three of them signed most of it, and Troy
Most
signed.
areas, two areas, two other areas.
Other than that, I don't have anything. No, I'm sorry, I do need to go in with you for contract negotiations on both the patrol officers and the mixed unit for a few minutes.
So moved.
Yes.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
And we will not be going back into public session and not making any further announcements out.
What he said.
Are we meeting again on Thursday?
We're meeting again on Thursday, 1:30 this month.